Astral Aegis. Written by Sylvac. Chapter 22. Xartik.
Oh!
Rainbow mumbled before silence took hold as I just turned to look at the screen again. I wasn't sure how much time passed as I just stared at the screen with a neutral expression, but I soon heard the sharp tap of hoofsteps and then felt a wing gently wrap over my back. This broke me out of my stupor to look at the owner of the wing. Letting out a sigh, I said,
Okay, we spent enough time being sad about this.
Twilight was about to open her mouth to protest before I shoved a hoof into it.
But we need to get home. We can spend more time on this new piece of information when we're safe again. For now, we need to figure out a way home.
After pulling my hoof out of her mouth, Twilight gave me a cross look before saying,
Fine, Aether, we'll do this your way, but you will talk about this when we get back. Let you see things my way. Now, since you're the only one that can figure out a way back home with magic, Rainbow and I are going out to get some presents.
I said with a grin.
Presents?
Rainbow asked with a tilt of her head.
Why would we be going out now if you say it's so dangerous to even be near an alien? Oh, just getting our hooves on as much technology as we can before we go. Every little bit can help Equestria advance and be more ready when it's truly discovered.
As Twilight's eyes started to shine at the implication of my plan, I pointed a hoof at her.
Hey, more thinking and less daydreaming.
With a huff, Twilight started muttering to herself while pacing about as I ignored her in favor of heading over to my closet. Opening it up, I pulled out a few belts, one with a holster on it that included an energy pistol.
Here, Dash, put this on,
I ordered as I tossed a couple belts her way. Pulling some clothes out of the closet, I turned to our local princess.
Hey Twilight, can you use your magic to turn some of my old clothes into some saddlebags? I don't think we'll be able to find any for sale in this world, or any bags that a pony can use.
After finding a spare card that had a link to my credit account, I did the one thing I never thought I'd see myself doing, spending all the funds that I have gathered in one day. Though the shopping trip didn't go the old typical burn all your earnings for the moment that I saw some naive idiots do after surviving their first job and getting paid. There were so many damn aliens that watched us, with some surely thinking that we were going to be their meal for a few days. Some yelling and pointing the pistol at their heads quickly deterred that line of thinking quickly. Rainbow was resistant to the idea of going on a shopping spree, citing that it was something Rarity would enjoy but not awesome enough for her. Her grievances quickly came to an end when I told her that her speed would help us get this matter done at a much faster pace, as well as being more useful in a fight if one were to break out. My little bout of ego stroking helped cut back Rainbow's complaints, but that didn't stop her from being incredibly curious about anything that looked awesome to her. Thankfully, the vendors didn't care that they were selling goods to a pair of colorful ponies. All that mattered to them was that we were able to pay for it in the end. Hours later, our packs filled with various tech, weapons, tools, and enough paste meant for herbivore species for a week, we returned to my humble abode to see Twilight mumbling to herself. Well, it was more like she was in her own little world, for she looked like she was writing something on a chalkboard based on how she was gesturing with her hooves.
Rainbow, is Twilight okay?
Yeah, I think. She has her moments, but normally she has a lot of her egghead stuff with her too.
Okay, as long as she's still alright in the head,
I said as I set my bags down.
Hopefully she finds a way back to Equus soon. I only got us enough paste to eat for a week or two.
Wait, that wasn't toothpaste? You actually expect me to eat paste?
Rainbow yelled.
Fine, you can go outside and eat garbage, or risk going to the outskirts of the city to eat some of the wild plants that could possibly be toxic to ponies. Or maybe you find some yummy plant that turns out to be a sapient foal of some plant-like alien, or you...
Okay, I get it!
Rainbow replied, crossing her hooves against her chest as she hovered around grumbling to herself. Rolling my eyes, I grabbed one of the paste tubes to give it a try.
Well, figures is just as bad,
I commented before force-feeding myself the rest of the gunk. Rainbow just took one look at it before grimacing at the thought of eating it as she landed on my pile of blankets.
Hey, could you just, I don't know, do what you did before that got us here, Aether?
Rainbow asked, to which I rolled my eyes at her.
That was pure random chance, and we were actually lucky to arrive here in one piece. I'd rather not risk being in pieces if we can find out an alternative way,
I answered as I tossed aside the tube. Heading over to my closet, I began to take out the rest of my weapons that I had stored and stuffed them into whatever spaces remained in our bags. When living in a world where every alien is looking out for themselves, it is best to be armed at all times with something.
Is that all weapons too?
Pretty much. Don't give me that look. This world is downright hostile compared to Aqua's, so when I could afford it, I got myself some weapons just in case I needed them. And yes, Rainbow, I actually had to use them a few times,
I nonchalantly replied as I continued to pull out more weapons. I was only able to get a small stash of cheap weapons, making sure that I had a couple spares due to losing some during a few of my jobs.
How can any pony stand to live like this? What you eat looks like it tastes like dirt, and to have every pony ready to attack you at any...
I suggest you stop right there, Rainbow. All I can say is that those of us in the poor class just endure it. We can't physically escape the system short of living in the wilds or... well, it's best not to think of that alternative. Which, I have to say, the last option had been used quite a bit by some aliens.
Rainbow was about to make a reply when her face paled, indicating that she figured out what the alternative was. That left me free to make my way to my table, jumping onto the chair so I could check my messages for any possible news that I missed. But before I could do that, I heard the click of the door opening. My old instincts quickly kicked in. The first thing I realized I was doing was using my magic to pull out my pistol as I spun around. The next thing I was aware of was sailing across the room and impacting the far wall, a cry escaping my mouth as some of my ribs cracked from the brutal treatment. I heard both Rainbow and Twilight shrieking my name as I turned my head to see what hit me, only for my eyes to widen in shock as I recognized it. Shit, not a Xartik hunter! In the doorway stood a bluish-gray robot, its 5 green eyes staring dispassionately at us from its simplistic hexagonal prism-shaped head. Standing 6 feet tall, one of its digitigrade legs pulling back, indicating that the leg was the thing that hit me. Its feet ended in 3 grasping claw-like toes, its arms also ending in hands with 4 manipulatable talons. The robot had a sleek frame with glowing blue lines running down its shoulders to its arms. Rainbow was the first one to react, charging at the hunter only for it to swing an arm at her, knocking her to the side to crash into a wall. The robot took a step inside only for Twilight to finally make her move as she fired a magic beam at it, only to have the beam splash over a personal shield, absorbing the entirety of the strike. It quickly charged at Twilight, only for her to teleport behind it to fire off another beam. Damn it all, those two don't stand a chance against it in such tight quarters. I thought to myself as I tried to stand up, only to fail as I felt a burst of pain in my chest. That was when I saw the Marillus core rolling nearby, causing me to make a split-second decision. Reaching out with one of my hooves, I grabbed the core, quickly moving it to the front of my horn, as I ignored the fight occurring in front of me. Concentrating as hard as I could, I pictured the library basement, with the 3 of us and all our stuff appearing in it. I then smashed the core against my horn, my magic immediately ignited, brighter than ever before it released a silver flash as I closed my eyes. A short moment later I opened them, only to puzzle at the sight of Ponyville, specifically some random street filled with a few ponies that were doing their day-to-day business. I was able to spot Rainbow, Twilight, and even all our stuff that was in my room. However, to my dismay, the Xartik hunter had also come along for the ride, its head quickly turning around as it viewed the area before its view came onto me. The robot charged at me, and before I could try to move or cast a spell, it grabbed my body with its right hand, its talon squeezing me slightly as I saw its other hand picking up the marrowless core. I struggled in its grasp, only for it to send a surge of electricity through its arm, making me spasm and cry out in pain. Meanwhile, I saw that a panel on the hunter's side pulled away to reveal a small compartment where it stashed the core. I then saw a beam hitting the robot's back, causing it to turn around only to be bucked in the head by Rainbow, though its personal shield withstood the punishment, remaining active. It swung an arm around in an attempt to drive Rainbow back, which I took as my opportunity to cast a spell. Sadly, ability to quickly cast anything was lacking as it spotted my horn lighting up. Before I could even get the spell off, the hunter's other hand closed into a fist, the armored talons being driven into the side of my skull. The moment the fist made contact with the right side of my head, I felt a surge of pain as my vision immediately blacked out, my last thoughts being, well, I didn't expect to go out this way. Well, shit hit the fan and fast. Surely shows how dangerous this area really is. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I guess I'm just gonna have to go and read up the next chapter as soon as possible. And yeah, besides that, have a good day, have fun, enjoy yourselves, and I will be seeing you in the next one. Until then, bye-bye!